What's up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Barbecue. What I'm going to be doing today is a recipe I saw on Facebook. On Facebook, it was called a 7-layer steak sandwich. I think it's more commonly referred to as a shooter sandwich. But what I'm going to do is put my twist on it, and we're going to go a little bit Italian on it. Anyway, why don't you guys come in and see what my ingredients are, and then we'll get this thing hooked up. What I'm using in this is I had a top round steak. I cut it in half, tenderized it, and I seasoned it with this herb and coffee rub. Use whatever kind of rub you want. Use whatever kind of steak you want, as long as it fits into this. We're going to hollow this out. That's our next ingredient. We're going to be using some thinly sliced onions. I do have a few slices of red bell pepper down there that were just in the refrigerator that needed to go. So we're going to add that. Some mushrooms, mozzarella cheese slices, basil, and then I have some sun-dried tomatoes and some fire-roasted red peppers. Those are ingredients. It's that simple. My first step is going to be to get this steak cooked up, so I'll see you at the stove. For our steak, I have my pan scorching hot. Let's go ahead and throw these in. Now, personally, I would cook these to medium rare. My wife probably wouldn't eat it if it was that rare, so I might go a little bit medium. Still want to keep some pink in it, but we're going to go 2 minutes, or not 2 minutes, excuse me. We're going to go about 4 minutes per side on this. See you back in a bit. 3 minutes a side is going to be okay. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside and let it rest. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mushrooms and my little bit of those bell peppers with these mushrooms, and I'm going to cook these down until they're caramelized. Here's what we're looking like as far as these caramelized mushrooms, onions, and peppers go. Go ahead and set these aside. Let those cool off a second. This actually is the hardest part, or not the hardest, it's the longest part in this whole cook. Just caramelizing these down. So let's start making this sandwich. So first thing I'm going to do is add steak to the bottom. Then we're going to hit it with some mozzarella cheese. I'm going to make sure I get down into these cracks where there is no steak. Then we're going to go with some of this onion mushroom mix. Not probably as much as I made, but enough to make a good layer. Then I'm going to hit it with some basil. Now I'm going to come back over it with some of these roasted red peppers and some of the sun-dried tomatoes. If they cooperate with me. There we go. That's perfect. I'm just going to sprinkle some on here. That looks like enough there. Now we're going to go back over it with some cheese. And now we're just going to add this other piece of steak. Put the top back on it. Now what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to wrap this up in foil. Double wrapped in some foil. So now we need to get some weight on it. Now I'm only going to be letting this sit for about 2 hours, so I'm not going to be worried about it going in the refrigerator or anything like that. But I do need to get some weight on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cutting board and set it on top of it. And then I have this, all these vegetables in this bowl. And I'm just going to set that on top of it. And that should get us where we need to be. I'm going to let that go, like I said, about 2, maybe 2.5 hours before we actually finish it off. Flattening this sandwich out under the cutting board and under this bowl of vegetables for a while. about 2 hours. Here's kind of what we're looking like. I didn't think there was a reason to go any longer than that. It seems flat enough to me. So in the recipe I saw on Facebook, they were recommending 220 degrees for 20 minutes, and I didn't think the cheese was melted enough on that recipe, so I'm going to go 300 degrees for 20 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in now, and I'm actually going to put it on in a cast iron skillet just in case something leaks out of it. It's in on this. I'm going to go ahead and take this out, let it rest for about 20 minutes. We had it in there at 300 degrees for about 20 minutes or so. Now I'm going to go ahead and unwrap it. And I did have it wrapped pretty good. Alright, let's go ahead and cut it and see. That's kind of what we're looking like. Here. We got, you know, a few slices. I'm probably going to cut it up a little bit thinner. Now it's time to taste this. Now I did cut it a little bit. You know, I cut a smaller piece, and the reason was when I was reading the comments on Facebook, one of the things they said was that the piece was so big that when you bit it, you pulled the steak out. So anyway, let's see if that's an issue or not. Let's go ahead and dig in, take a bite. So that's definitely a big bite. You could definitely taste all that stuff coming through on it. And what I'm probably going to do is add a little bit of, you know, you could probably add some mayonnaise to it or something like that. I do have a little bit of leftover Alabama white barbecue sauce, so I'm probably going to be dipping this stuff in, but definitely a good concept. Pretty tasty. I'm going to suggest that, you know, if you haven't tried it and you're kind of on, you know, the wild side and you want to try something new, give this a shot. Anyway, thanks for stopping by No Hippie Barbecue. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.